is going to be offered. And he's going to do that with his own hand. So Abraham would say, my son, don't worry, God will provide us an offering. But no, Abraham knew in his heart that the offering is no other than his own son, Isaac. When they reached the top of the mountain, they have to prepare, and then the Bible said Isaac was helping Abraham. Isaac knew what's going to happen. They're making an offering to God. But still, Isaac would ask, where is the offering? And Abraham would say, God will provide us an offering. So they kindled the fire. They started the fire already. There was a rope and a dagger. Still, Isaac couldn't find the offering. And then Abraham started to tie Isaac's hand. And then Isaac knew where and who is the offering. It was him. And then he laid him on the table. And then he grabbed the dagger. Abraham held the dagger. And according to Father, he made a final prayer before he actually killed his son, asking why God is asking for Isaac. But there was no answer. So when he raised the dagger to kill or to slit the throat of his son, what happened? The Bible said an angel of God appeared and said, Abraham, Abraham, don't hurt the son. For now I know you're not going to keep your son from me. It must be a very dramatic moment. No? These stories, when I first read them, I just know them as stories. But then knowing principle and knowing the artistic relationship, it is a very dramatic moment. This is what God told Abraham. And then he added, I will surely bless you and make your descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky. Through your offering, all nations on earth will be blessed because you have obeyed me. Abraham passed a very severe test. It is easier for Abraham to offer himself because he's already old. To kill his son is to kill his future descendants. And that's what God asked. And so when he was in that tense, he passed the test. And Satan cannot bear this kind of people who can do things even at great expense to themselves. But Father said that this offering is not just made by Abraham, it is likewise and as much as made by his son Isaac. In fact, Father said Isaac made even a greater offering than his father Abraham. Why? It is easier to offer to God than to your own father. Right? If your father said, God told me I'm going to sacrifice you, perhaps you will tell your father, but you might have a nightmare last night and that's not God. Anyway, Isaac could have refused. What if Isaac ran away when his hands were being tied? What if Isaac fought his father? He's a very strong young boy. But he did not. He laid himself like a lamb to be slaughtered, willing to be offered by his father, because he knew that his father is going to do that for God. So what Ham could not do to his father Noah, it was Isaac who restored and inherited the faith of his father. That's why from that moment, Isaac inherited Abraham's faith. And then as he removed the rope and they were embracing each other and they were crying in praise to God, the Bible said there was something moving in the bushes. And when they see and they look, it was a ram whose horn was caught up into the thickets. And then Noah took it, Abraham took it, and then he cut its neck, threw its blood, and burned it as an offering. So this is a double offering by Abraham and by Isaac. Now Isaac is the new central person because he restored Ham's failure. He demonstrated the absolute unity of heart that Ham failed to inherit when he became ashamed of his father's nakedness. Now the only condition is the substance. If Isaac laid that, then that must be his brother. But where's the brother? He already was chased out by the mother Sarah. There's no more Ishmael. There's no more Hagar in the house. So that's why the foundation of substance came to the next generation, the third generation of Abraham. When Abraham had a son Isaac, Isaac also married a woman who could not have children until her old age. She was more than 40. She is still single. She is still without child. But she prayed, and then God promised him a child. And when she became pregnant with twins, kaagad. And as the twins were growing inside, the twins were moving to the effect that the mother felt that they were fighting. So she asked God, why are these two sons fighting in my womb? And God told him, it's because it's not just two sons in your womb, but there are two nations in your womb. The elder will serve the younger. He said to, who's the wife of Isaac? Rebecca. No? So when it is time for them to be born, who came out first? Esau. The word Esau means hairy, balbon. He's also called Edom because his skin was reddish. And then the next one is Jacob, his twin brother. So they are twins, but because Esau came out first, he became the elder brother. And because Jacob was holding on the ankle of Esau, that is his name, Jacob. It means to grasp the heel. So as we look at Jacob's story, he is a person who had no foundation of faith. That's why he needs to qualify himself to be in the able position. That's why the Bible speaks about a story restoring symbolically the three great blessings. It began during their middle age when Esau set out to hunt because he likes to hunt. He came back that afternoon having nothing to hunt or no game to catch. But Jacob was cooking something at home, lentils, like beans that are boiled. And then when Esau heard that, smelled the food, he started to ask food from his brother. I'm so hungry, you have to give me. And then Jacob said, I won't give you. And so Esau has to beg, please give me food or I'm going to die of hunger. But Jacob said, okay, in one condition. I will be the elder brother, you will be the younger brother. Actually, what the Bible said, sell me your birthright. And then what was the reaction of Esau? The birthright is an important position. Okay, what good for me is my birthright if I'm going to die of hunger. You can have the birthright for all I care for. Just give me food. And so what happened? So, Jacob gave Esau the food, and now, he doesn't have to treat Esau as his elder brother. He now claimed the birthright. It happened again when their father became very old. Too old, he became blind. He called his eldest son so that the eldest son can receive the blessing. And that would be Esau. This is an agreement between the two brothers. When Esau came, he realized that his father wants to give him his final blessings. But on one condition. You catch me an animal, cook it the way I want to be cooked, and offer it to me. And as soon as I eat it, I'm going to bless you. And he told Esau. But what Esau didn't know, and what also Isaac didn't know, is that Rebekah was in that place listening to whatever he was saying. And so, when Esau came out of the room, preparing to go to to hunt the game for his father, Rebekah told his other son, Jacob, you catch 2 of our young goats, and I will cook it for you so that you can offer it to your father and you can receive the blessing. But Isaac was hesitant. But if he will know. When the mother said, don't worry, your father is blind. He will not recognize who is who. But what if it touches me? I don't even have a hair like my brother. So this is what we're going to do. The hair of the goat we will put in your body, and so when he touched you, he would feel that you're hairy. So that's exactly what he did. He put the skin of the goat with hairs on the body of Jacob. And even before he went into the room, he put on the clothes of Esau. So of course, Jacob would be ahead of Esau in preparing and making that offering. So he noticed his father. Father, this is your son Esau. He used the name of Esau, but who is the one talking? That was Jacob. So the father, being sensitive after being blind, said, are you sure you're my son Esau? You sound more like Jacob. He Here, you can touch me, Father. I am your son Esau. But when the father touched him, even though he sounds like Jacob, he is hairy like Esau. But still the father is not convinced, so he said, come close, I would like to hug and kiss you. But because the father also became very sensitive perhaps in smell, he knew the son's smell. No one is good in hunting, the other one stays at home more often, so he has more time to take a bath. So perhaps Esau smells more like the animals that he catch. Anyway, but because Jacob was wearing the clothes of Esau, what the father smelled in Jacob's body is the clothes of Esau, and that's what the father smelled. It smells like Esau, it touches like Esau, even though it sounds like Jacob. So I guess, siguro, inisip niya, 2 against 1, maybe this is Esau. So he took the food. Not only that he took the food, after he took the food, he blessed Jacob. Your land will be fertile, your animals will be many, you will become a great nation, so many blessings. So when he received that, he was so happy, he told his mother, the mother was also very happy. And then here comes Esau, coming home with an animal. He quickly prepared it, cooked it, and then went to his father. And then the father was surprised. I already gave my blessing to my son Esau. And then he introduced himself more clearly, and then they both realized it was Jacob who took the blessing. Is there any other blessing left for me, Father? Sabi niya, please bless me. Okay, I will bless you. But then when he was blessed, he was more insulted than happy. Your land will not be as fertile. Your animals will not be as many. And you will serve your younger brother. So he left that room feeling more hurt than happy. And he was so angry, his murmurs was so loud that the mother heard. That Jacob, first he took my blessing, now he took my blessing from his father. I will kill that when my father dies. When the mother heard that again, he said, Jacob, your brother is so angry against you, so you better run and go to our province and stay there until he has lost all of that anger. So by the time, before Isaac could die and before Isaac can catch Jacob, he was already gone. He went to a land called Haran, where his uncle Laban stays. He met one of the daughters of Laban in a well. He didn't know that that was one of the daughters. His name was Rachel. When he started to work, he applied for a job as a servant because he knew he was a servant of servant. When he met the 2 daughters of Laban, he liked and preferred the second daughter than the first, who is Rachel. The elder daughter was Leah. She was more shapely. Rachel was more lovely, according to the Bible. And then, when she wanted to have Rachel, she offered himself to work for 7 years without any wages just to win his daughter's hand in marriage. So Jacob became the most industrious person in Haran. At the end of the 7 years, he went back to his uncle to claim what he had worked so hard for 7 years. I like to marry your daughter Rachel. That same day, there was a wedding. In one of the Jewish tradition, they prepared a room for the first night because they would like to really, they really put value in the first son, which is fulfilled or conceived during the first night. But when Jacob joined his wife inside where they are going to sleep, he woke up the next morning to find out that she spent the night not with his wife, but with another woman, the elder sister Leah. So he was surprised. Why are you Leah? You're supposed to be Rachel. My father sent me. And so he went to his uncle and said, you said you're going to give me Rachel, but then I found Leah. And so the father explained, because it is tradition, perhaps you don't know, before the second daughter marries, the first daughter has to get married first. That's why I gave you Leah. But then Uncle Laban said, if you still want to marry my daughter Rachel, you can work for me for another 7 years. So that became another condition. So even though he was promised Rachel, it took him 14 years of separation before finally he could marry his love of life. See, Rachel. Leah was not really his desired wife that he really loved. But then anyway, he had children with Leah, and by the time he married Rachel, he already had a family and children. So the next period, after he married Rachel, he again went to his uncle and said, I have worked for you for 14 years now, and you have become rich. Because of Jacob's hard work, and because he was a blessed man, the animals and the land became fertile, the animals become many. So now Jacob was asking, I like to work for wages, which is very fair. I have a wife, I have wives to feed, I have children, I like to work for wages. His uncle agreed, but in the next 7 years, the Bible said that he was deceived and tricked 10 times. That's why parang dinadaya siya. But despite the effort to trick Jacob, still God's favor was on Jacob. At the end of 7 more years, totaling 21 years, Jacob had 1,000 heads of cattle. He also had 70 kinsmen. And that was the time he decided it is time to go back. I want to be reconciled with my brother. So without permission, they set off. When they set off, they didn't know, or he didn't know, that one of his wives took the idol of Laban and kept it under her thigh as she was riding a donkey. And that was Rachel. And so when Laban saw that they left, he didn't care until he found his idol. And then he pursued Jacob's group with his men to pursue and recover and go get back his idol. But then Jacob didn't know about what his wife did. So even though Laban made threats, I'm going to kill all of you, including my daughters, if I found, he said, okay, you go ahead. So they started searching. But Jacob didn't know that Rachel was sitting on it under her thighs. So when the time came that they have to check on Rachel's donkey, they even have to reach deep into the grains to check whether it's buried under the grain. So una, si Sarah, si Leah, she was asked to go down to check if she was sitting on the idol. So therefore, when it was on the time, when it was already to search, the time to search Rachel, it was very tense. But Rachel was very wise. He said, please, I cannot go down. Don't make me go down. I have a monthly period. Sabi nga no. And because of that reason, she was not forced to go down. If she actually was forced to go down, it would reveal the idol and they would all have been killed. Anyway, but because she was able to keep it, when the group of Laban left, Rachel told it to Jacob. Jacob took it, he buried it under the tree, which is another victory on God's side, because that symbol is the symbol of Satan. Jacob stayed on the land of Haran for 21 years without having any kind of influence in his family. They have kept their faith in God, even though they're living in a very different tradition or satanic place. And as they continued to travel, they came upon a river, and they decided to settle to drink. But as they came to the river Jabbok, Jacob was confronted with an angel. Not a friendly, but a hostile angel who engaged Jacob in a wrestling match. Father also had many descriptions about this wrestling match, how Jacob was thrown many times, the angel was very strong, and finally the angel was able to touch the hollow of Jacob's thigh and effectively dislocating the hip bone from its socket dun sa pelvic. So Jacob was injured. But Jacob was able to clock the angel in his arms. And then the struggle continued until afternoon, until evening. And he is not releasing the angel until it became dark, it became night, until dawn. As the sun is going up, the angel said, I have to go now. Please release me. But Jacob said, I will not release you until you declare me as the winner. Okay? Actually, he said, until you bless me. Okay, from now on, according to the angel, I will bless you. From now on, your name will no longer be Jacob. You will be now called Israel. Jacob released the angel left, and Jacob gained that name, whose meaning is one who overcame by faith. This is also another first. The first fallen man who overcome fighting over the angel. And then it came to pass that as they are moving towards the place where Esau is, Esau learned about this, and he prepared his men, 400 of them, calling them to take up arms to kill his brother Jacob. But then he was surprised. The group that came was not there, because Jacob sent an advance party of 500 animals and 70 kinsmen, with the instruction to give this to my brother as my peace offering, and you offer yourself in humility. Bow down to my brother. So Esau was surprised. He wants to fight, to kill his brother, but his enemy is offering gifts, showing humility. So when Esau and Jacob finally met, as Jacob was leading the second batch, the first thing that Jacob did, according to the Bible, was to bow to the ground. All the way to the ground, not 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but 7 times. When he lifted himself from the 7th bow, he smiled at Esau and said, "Seeing your face is like seeing the face of God." And probably that was the last condition that melted all the remaining resentments of Esau. The Bible said that his anger was removed, and that they ran to each other, not to church and fight, but they ran to each other so that they would embrace, and they cried in happy reconciliation. Very beautiful story of reconciliation. We always use this story in the Principle of Peace lecture. But more than just the reconciliation of these two brothers, what is the significance of this story? It means that Jacob and Esau, representing the position of Cain and Abel, had become united, reconciled. For the first time in history, there is a condition for foundation of substance. That is why this story is one of the most important stories in the Old Testament. Because of Jacob's love for Esau, who considers him as enemy who wants to kill him, he was able to win the heart of his brother, to convert the heart from one that wants to kill, from one that wants to embrace and reconcile. So he gave his family and wealth and risked his own life. So, was there a foundation of substance? Yes, there was. So now we have the foundation of faith and the foundation of substance, which means there will be the foundation for the Messiah, this time in the family level. So we have gone through these providential families. Adam's family failed. Noah's family failed. Abraham's family failed. But when it comes to Isaac and his two sons, Esau and Jacob, finally victory was realized. The foundation of substance. That means if there's a foundation of substance, the Messiah should have appeared. But the principle explains that the reason why God did not send the Messiah, because even though there was a successful foundation that God made through the family of Jacob, this is only on the foundation of family. If God is going to send the Messiah as just a member of the family, he will have the dignity and also the influence and also the sovereignty to confront the satanic nations that were more established long before. Especially there was the Egyptian kingdom, Sumerian kingdom, the Persian kingdom, there was the Chinese civilization, the Indian civilization. If the Messiah is going to become a part of one family, then that is a very, very pathetic Messiah. So that's why God cannot send the Messiah yet. And also, they still have to pay the 400 years of slavery. Because when Abraham did not cut the animals into two, God said, "You will become slaves in Egypt for 400 years. But nevertheless, even though God did not send the Messiah, during the time of God's victory in the family of Jacob, he set Jacob as the foundation. He became the model of making the foundation for the Messiah in the future. Moses followed Jacob. Jesus followed Moses. In that way, Jesus also followed Jacob's course. And then, before God can make a nation, he has to start with the family. And that was Jacob's family. The 12 sons of Jacob became the beginning of a new nation. They became the 12 tribes of the country. The country is also is called by his name, Israel. So these were the 3 generations that actually established the foundation for God's new nation to be built. Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. That's why during the time of Moses, God would tell Moses, "I am the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob." This is like 3 generations but fulfilling in one. He receives the name Israel. He introduces himself to Moses as the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. Okay? So that is the 3 providential families.